Okay, so now we're gonna look at the filter gallery. So right up here, we have in the filter menu, of course, we have the filter gallery. So something to know about menu options just in general is whenever there's this ... behind a menu option, that means that it's going to open up another window. So for example, all of these have ... because they because they're all things that open up. But okay, like if I wanted to click on this that says average, it's not going to give me any options. It's just going to apply the setting and that's it. But if you have the ... you know that there's going to be another pane that opens up so that you can apply some different options and settings. So anyways, let's go into the filter gallery, clicking once, and the filter gallery opens up into its own little space in Photoshop. This is going to be our preview window, and when it opens up, it's going to be coming in at 100% of the view. So if you don't want to see the, if you want to see the entire image, you can just hit the minus right here. You can also change the amount of magnification right over here. Now in the filter view, it can be helpful to actually be this zoomed in so you can see what the effect is actually looking like. Now one thing I realized is that this is going to probably take a while, so the filters usually take quite a bit of time to render and process the larger the image is. So to make this a little bit quicker, I'm going to change my image size real quick. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just change the resolution. Actually, I'm going to change it to 100 pixels per inch. And okay, let's go ahead and there's our image, but a little bit smaller. Alright, let's go back over here to the filter gallery. This is just really for the video, so you guys don't have to wait forever to see something. Alright, so I was playing in here earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. But right over here we have where we're seeing the actual image. So right now it's at 100%, so what a big difference then with the different resolution, right? Right here we have the different types of folders with different filters in it. So if you click on this little arrow, it'll open up. So we have artistic, brush strokes, distort, stylize, which only has one thing left in it, and textures. Okay, and then right over here we're going to have the options for whatever filter we have selected. So right now we have the watercolor filter selected. You can also click here to change the different types. These are all the same filters that are right over here. Then you can have the options to change some different things. So, and this is going to depend on the filter. For watercolor, we have brush detail, shadow intensity, and the texture. Now right over here, this is kind of like another, like a layers panel in a way for the filters that you're using within this area. So you can actually stack multiple filters on top of each other by hitting the plus sign. And so like with this one selected, I can then select a different filter and add that on top. I can click and drag to move the orders around, and it's going to change the look. The order definitely changes the look. And what I want you guys to know too is that when I do anything over here, a little bar, a blue bar comes up over here, and that's letting me know that it's rendering the preview. So if you click on something and you don't see it change right away, just hold on, give Photoshop a little time, look down here for the bar, and give it a little bit more time to catch up with what you're doing. If you wanted to delete one of these, you didn't like what it looks like, you could just click on that little trash can and it'll delete it. And you can play with as many and stack them. Now the more you stack, the longer it's going to take to render and preview, so that's something to pay attention to as well. Now over here, I mean, we have so many options. I almost feel overwhelmed telling you guys about all this because there's just so much to look at. So we have things like colored pencil, cutout, dry brush, film grain, fresco. Let me go ahead and take off something so we can kind of just look at some of these. So let's start with, I don't know, let's go fresco. All right, so that's pretty fun. Different looks. And we could play with the brush size. We could play with the detail, so this is more detail. And then we have less detail. Okay, so you can see where it's kind of changing it up. We have how much texture we want it to have. Let's turn the brush detail back up. And let's go brush size really big. All right, and so you can get a whole different look just by playing with these different things, these different options. Let's go look at brush strokes. So there's all kinds. Let's try crosshatch. And zoom in a little bit here. Okay, stroke length, so how long is each crosshatch? If you've taken some art classes, some of these terms might make a little bit more sense, but you know, no worries. Crosshatch is basically just a drawing technique where instead of like doing a smooth gradient of shading, you overlay different lines, and the closer those lines are, the darker that area appears. So that's what it's trying to show us here. Sharpness, let's pull that all the way up to see what it does. Okay. Strength. Wow, let's zoom out and see what the overall look is. Ooh, that's pretty cool looking, huh? All right, let's keep going. So we have this distort area. Let's see, with glass. So this has that look of looking through that, you know, glass type of texture. I mean, it's pretty fun. We have now these black and white ones. They often work well as like an overlay. So if you remember when we looked at different, you know, with our layers, there's, you know, screen and multiply and overlay and all these different ways to make our layers interact with each other. Well, this would be a good time right here to use these, because then you can set those different modes so that it interacts with what's underneath. So that is why these ones are in black and white. So for instance, the halftone pattern, so it has this halftone type of texture. This has to do with the type of printing, an old schoolish type of printing technique, I guess you can say. It's still used though. Okay, and so then in this case you would go ahead and click OK, and now we have this look, and now I have it above an image that doesn't have anything going on with it, and I could play with, you know, different type of ways to change that up. Okay, so that's why there's those ones in black and white. Now I'm not going to stick with this. I'm going to double click on the filter gallery, and it's going to open me back up right where I was. Pretty sweet. All right, let's just look at a few more. Glowing edges is good for some stuff. I mean, I haven't used it in a really long time. I'm sure there's some tutorials out there where they use this for something. And then texture, we have some fun stuff. Stained glass is always kind of fun, so you can play with how big each cell is, each section, the border thickness, and how intense the light is. Okay, so yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. All right, so that is the very basics of the filter gallery.